The pure unbound yang is the strongest skill in the contemporary world. Learning the skill can help you surpass many adversaries, and mastering it will make you unconquerable. However, only those gifted with great understanding and an innate sword body can cultivate such a legendary skill. That's why for 1,000 years apart from the technique's founder, matriarch of Muzian, nobody could learn this divine technique, except for Ye Gulo, the current patriarch of the Muzian sect. His cultivation is the strongest, his sect is the strongest, and he has the strongest collection of magic treasures. In other words, Ye Gulo is second to none. However, at this moment, he was trying to escape from a weird situation. In the sky, Heavenly Master Lu Xiaoyu wasn't going to let him go, so she cast a powerful technique, the 5 Thunder Rectification. It directly hits Ye Gulo head-on, destroying the sword chi that was protecting him. Suddenly in front of him, demonic Master Fei Hong has also arrived. She uses her legendary arts, which gave her multiple arms, to smash Ye Gulo back down to earth. This time his protective body robe was gone. Afterwards, Grand Assistant Muzian Sect Master, Yun Yuyu, came to check if her senior brother was alright. She then taps his hands, and uses the God Seal, which was the strongest sealing spell to restrict him. She then gave him a lustful look, stating there will be no more escape. Flying on top of her gourd, 5 Poison Sect Master Yuzo Murong uses her poison body to send a poison liquid at Ye Gulo's way, ultimately poisoning him. Finally, Sword Master Mu Bai made her appearance, and she cast a devastating sword technique on him, sending down multiple heavenly sword and piercing through Ye Gulo's skull. At this moment, despite his high cultivation, despite his sect being number 1, and despite having the most powerful magic treasures, when the 5 strongest people apart from him joined forces to besiege him, he was unable to fight back. The 5 girls then asked him a very important question. Which one does he choose? Now you may think Ye Gulo deserves this for not wanting a harem, but that was not the case, because although the pure unbound yang was a supreme art, the technique itself forbids the user to do male and female activity, otherwise the user will vomit excessive amounts of blood, or worst case scenario explode. Also, if he tries to dissipate the technique, he will explode and die. Of course, Ye Gulo thought the elder must be bluffing. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. When he was about to unleash his little brother onto Lu Xiaoyu, he was about to die. When he was about to play with Mu Bai's little sister, he was about to die. And when he was about to wrestle with his junior sister Yun Yuyu, he was about to die. So because of this peerless technique, Ye Gulo fell into a pit of despair, and was forced to retain his boyhood forever. Back in the present, Ye Gulo tries his best to de-escalate the situation. However, the girls were dead set on making him choose. Since he couldn't escape with his mortal body, there was only one way left now. The girls felt nervous when they saw he was about to do something irrational. Ye Gulo looks up into the sky. Suddenly a giant ray of aura shoots down at him, and his soul had left his body. That's right, Ye Gulo was escaping this mess by ascending to a higher plane. While ascending, Ye Gulo reminisced about his life. He had fought for his sect to become number 1, protected the demon sect alone from the world, killed powerful primeval existences, and gave lectures with his profound knowledge. But even if he can fool everyone else, Ye Gulo couldn't fool himself, because he really wants to do it. Suddenly he notices something, and was shocked when he saw it, because his harem were ascending after him. Ye Gulo later wakes up, and finds himself in a western-looking room. He also noticed the skills in his body were now all gone. Afterwards, something caught his eyes. It was a beautiful elf sleeping next to him. Ye Gulo was enamored with the elf's beauty, and thought she was beautiful. He then remembered something, and realized he was now free from the pure unbound yang. Ye Gulo would begin to have thoughts about embracing the woman, but Luna was awakened by his tomfoolery, and tied him to the tree, where all the other elves could see him. When Ye Gulo saw the group of elves, he thought this was the world of the immortals. The village's head then arrives, and was surprised by Ye Gulo's handsome features. She quickly learns of the situation, and decided to help him out, by announcing that he's innocent. The other elf then saw him in a better light. Later, inside of the head's home, she flirts with Ye Gulo, before forcing herself onto him. Suddenly the door slams open, and Luna informs the head that the orcs will soon be arriving. Since it was too late to ask the city for help, the head asks Ye Gulo to help her protect the village, and begins to tell a story. Long ago there were 2 goddesses, Moon Goddess Beng Fai, and Earth Goddess Sidamu. They were the best of friends, until one day a used cucumber appeared. They got into a heated dispute about who left the used cucumber on the ground. This argument later turned into a fierce battle, but since they couldn't settle their fight in the end, they have parted ways ever since. The head then revealed that the elves are the descendants of the moon goddess, while the orcs were descendants of the drenched cucumber. Igulo agrees to save the elves, but wonders why she was so fond of him since the beginning. The head then shows him the prophecy, where a traveler would one day come to save them from the orcs, and that traveler was none other than Igulo. Igulo later starts preparing for the upcoming battle. He concluded that he doesn't have his skill nor cultivation anymore. However, he could still access his treasures and inventory. So Igulo decided to take out a peerless weapon that'll take him to the top again. But it wasn't what it seems, and Igulo receives a wooden sword and a paper talisman. He tried doing it once again, but the results were the same. This was because his cultivation level was too low. He was unable to access the higher tier immortal treasures. Around this time, Igulo noticed someone was spying on him. He catches that person, and turns out it was Luna. They got into a small quarrel before the village's head came along. Igulo said that Luna has seen his two treasures. The head was in shock and misinterprets the situation, dragging his body and saying that she'll also examine his treasures. The very next day, the head introduced the village's strongest warrior so that Igulo could formulate a battle plan. After guiding the archers and assigning their roles, night soon came, and the orcs had arrived in the village. One of the elves tried stabbing an orc with her sword, but she was pathetically bad at it, and soon the village was overrun by orcs. The ninth orc prince Zusadar had captured many elves, but at this time, arrows were fired from the roof, killing many of the orcs and allowing the captured elves to escape. The elves would continue to relentlessly fire, and Zusadar would be pierced by arrows in all directions. Igulo thought they had won, but the orc prince wouldn't give up so easily and ejects the arrows out with just his muscles. He then reveals a mysterious cucumber that emits a strange aura, which weakens all of the elves. Although the village's head was also weakened by it, she grits her teeth and begins to chant a powerful spell, which summons a giant pyroblast. Zusadar was afraid of this attack, but he was only acting, and unleashed a ferocious swing that sends the head flying away, while her clothes were also torn off. Luckily, Igulo catches her and covers her with a white sheet. He comforts her before taking off to confront Zusadar. Zusadar would look at Igulo with disdain. However, Igulo made a snarky remark, which triggers Zusadar, so he launches a crazy attack at Igulo. But Igulo would just block it with his two fingers. When the attack did nothing to him, the orc prince was completely baffled. But behind Igulo's back, he had used the paper talisman as a medium to block the attack. Not wasting any time, Igulo summons his wooden sword and slices at the orc prince. The cut was so brutal that Zusadar had taken severe damage. But the reason why the wooden sword was so strong was because it was refined 10,000 times. But since it was still a common grade treasure, it disintegrated with just one use. Luna then appeared to ask if the battle was over, and Igulo would gloat about his victory, while also becoming flirtatious with Luna. However, in the middle of their conversation, Luna noticed something, because an enraged Zusadar had revived himself and was going berserk. Igulo realized he got careless, so he pushes Luna to save her. When he thought this was the end for him, Luna called him a fool, and her finger began to flicker, casting the 5 thunder rectification. A fierce lightning then came down on Zusadar, completely obliterating him from existence. Igulo was in confusion when he saw this. Luna's appearance begins to change, revealing her to be Lu Xiaoyu all along. Igulo was immediately in shock and couldn't believe she was here. Yet she was not so cheery to see him, since he kept flirting with the elves right in front of her. She would strike him with one lightning bolt after another to make him repent. But all Igulo could think about was how Lu Xiaoyu's cultivation realm was so high. Lu Xiaoyu then shocks him for pointing his finger at her. Later inside their cabin, Igulo learns that Lu Xiaoyu has been in this world for 3 months, and she has acquired the nascent soul realm within this period. She also changes her appearance with the mirror flower technique, and used the dream butterfly ability to rewrite her consciousness. She then adds a condition to wake up when meeting another cultivator or when encountering serious danger. Igulo then nervously asks why she didn't reveal herself upon their encounter, but Lu Xiaoyu embarrassingly made him shut up. They later went to meet the village's head, and thanks her for all she's done, before informing that they'll be leaving tomorrow. Ye Gulo then remembered something, and dashed to check on the orc prince's body, but Ye Gulo was stunned when he got there, because he was turned into a heap of charcoal. However, Ye Gulo would not give up, and tries to find a treasure within the orc. He then discovers the mysterious cucumber that makes the elf's body go weak. Ye Gulo was overjoyed, and quickly hid it from Lu Xiaoyu. To test the effects out, he would use it on the village's head, making her feel vulnerable. Ye Gulo rejoiced when he saw the cucumber was still working. The next morning, Lu Xiaoyu and Ye Gulo bid farewell to the village. As they were leaving the village, the hen asked Ye Gulo to wait a bit, before planting a kiss on his cheek, and asking him to visit her when he has time. Ye Gulo gave an okay look, before being kicked by Lu Xiaoyu, and chased out of the village. A while later, a holy door appears in front of the village, and Pope Knight Azure came out of it. The head greets them, and Azure asked where were the orcs. She then shows them the charred corpse, and express it was dealt with by a brave passerby. Azure's subordinate said there was no trace of mana or demigod power in the charcoal, so Azure was curious as to how the orc princess was slain. She then assigned her subordinate to find the brave passerby, and bring them in for interrogation. Retainer Knight Livia took off her hood, and obeys the Holy Order. Later at the outskirts of Aid City, Lu Xiaoyu says they were in another world that was similar to their previous one. Ye Gulo agrees, and realized this world was better suited for cultivation, since he has already reached foundation establishment just a day prior. Lu Xiaoyu was surprised by his cultivation speed, but Ye Gulo expressed that rising from here would require a special effort. Since Lu Xiaoyu has been here for 3 months, she suggests they register to become adventurers. Ye Gulo was puzzled by the term adventurer, so Lu Xiaoyu explains that adventurers are people who slay monsters to gain reputation and money. Successful adventurers also have many privileges, like conversing with whomever they please, searching people's home as they please, and no needing to turn in the loots they collected. Ye Gulo couldn't believe there was such a wonderful thing, wanted to immediately become an adventurer, so the pair of Cultivator head towards Aid City. In the meantime, Livia had found them, but decided to observe them for now. At Aid City, inside the Adventurers Guild, a receptionist had come to greet them. Ye Gulo was stunned when he saw her, and felt that a strange knowledge had been acquired. He then pictures Lu Xiaoyu in a bunny outfit, and starts to have a nosebleed. Meanwhile, Lu Xiaoyu registers them as adventurers. Their first mission was to defeat a mystic vine monster. Ye Gulo begins to have dirty thoughts again, and was getting excited. However, reality is always disappointing. Lu Xiaoyu then uses her lightning bolt, completing their first mission. In the meantime, Livia continued to observe them. After returning to the guild, they were given another quest to slay slimes. As they made their way to the field, they finally spot a blue slime. However, Ye Gulo noticed something, and realized Lu Xiaoyu was afraid of the slime, so he would act cool and comfort her, before confronting the slime. The slime suddenly starts to change, and turn into a naked version of Lu Xiaoyu. Ye Gulo was dumbfounded when he saw this, but since he had witnessed the peach valley of Lu Xiaoyu, he couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Lu Xiaoyu, on the other hand, was completely embarrassed, so she struck them with a lightning bolt, completing the mission in the process. Back at the guild's guest room, Ye Gulo thought about teaching Lu Xiaoyu a little lesson for always striking him with her lightning bolt, so he planned to use a secret weapon to deal with her. At Lu Xiaoyu's room, Ye Gulo tries to convince her into changing into her elf form. Lu Xiaoyu was reluctant, but after a bit more of shameless sweet talk, Lu Xiaoyu agrees to his proposition and changes herself into Luna. Ye Gulo then reveals the mysterious cucumber, causing Lu Xiaoyu's body to go weak. As Ye Gulo was making fun of her, the cucumber slips out of his hand and breaks on the ground. Although he was shaken, he retrieves the broken cucumber and quickly ran for his life. However, we learn that Lu Xiaoyu was only pretending weak, and she wished Ye Gulo would be more honest with his feelings. Later that night, Ye Gulo had taken on a solo quest and had killed a young dragon. As he made his way out of the cave, Livia was once again observing him, but at this time, Livia noticed someone from behind her and turned around to see who it was. That person was a succubus, and she was also Ye Gulo's junior sister. She was none other than Yunyu. Since Livia could be a danger to Ye Gulo, Yunyu quickly attacks her, destroying the shield as a result. and as Yun Yu was about to land a fatal hit, Livia summons her holy water to stop the incoming attack before throwing the mallet away. She then charges at Yun Yu with her sword. Yun Yu's hand starts to flicker, and she places a restriction on the sword. She then mocks Livia for being weak, before sending her flying with her overwhelming aura, causing Livia to fall off the cliff. Livia quickly reacted, and surrounded herself with holy water, absorbing the impact of the fall. Yet Livia was now unconscious. Yun Yu wanted to finish Livia off, but she was now low on energy, so she leaves to flirt with other women to recharge her energy. Meanwhile, in the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist informs the other adventurers of a new bounty. She then shows Lu Xiaoyu the poster, and Lu Xiaoyu was shocked when she saw it, because the quest was to hunt Yun Yu for seducing innocent young women. So Lu Xiaoyu immediately took on the quest. A while later, Yigu Lo finds Livia on the ground, so as the gentleman he was, he takes her to the cave to heal her. As Yigu Lo was sending Livia his aura, Livia felt a warm sensation running through her body. This causes her to wake up and notice the handsome man healing her. And that's the end of the first part. If you pongos enjoy the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you want part 2. With that out of the way, I'll see you pongos later.